Good Erev Shabbos. I do want to apologize to Dr. Paisley Ford for not saying her correct name. Her name is Christine, uh, which translates to Anointed One. Uh, it's not a terrible name, it's just that name, Christian, has been used to persecute Jewish people over 2 millennia. Many millions of Jews were forced to convert, and today still are in a state of forced conversion because of the work of the Catholic Church and other Christian elements who forced conversion on Jews because they were the power. That be, they took away the children. This happened in Europe, primarily in Spain, in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and beginning of the 8th century, and it continued on in Spain for a long, long time. A considerable number of Spanish people are really Jewish people. A considerable number of people of Spanish extract who are in Central and South America also Jewish, or of Jewish blood, Jewish sources. This is one of the tragedies of the dominant power that forces its will upon weaker groups. And I believe firmly that God will change this around in a short time as we come closer to the true redemption of Israel, and Israel becomes more and more powerful, and the people of Israel become more and more believing and fulfilling the Torah. Then those things will change as well. There will become a teacher who will go to the Spanish-speaking Jews and tell them that they were robbed of their own tradition and they were forced to become Christians, and he's willing to discuss the merits of following the Torah path against the ideology of Christianity. And this will either be discussion or debate, or there will be some kind of demonstration of the efficacy of them. And the end result will be that many, many millions of Jewish people will return as the Torah, as the prophet promises. And the lost tribes will also return. The lost tribes are in the tens of millions, maybe more, throughout Asia. The Pashtun group in Afghanistan are known to come from Jews, from the tribes of Israel. And the fact that they were forced to accept Islam and now are very, very strident and very enthusiastic about it has nothing to do with the truth. Truth is that they were forced and they will be given a choice. And I'm certain that most of them will choose the truth. And you say, well, what is the truth? We'll leave that to your speculation, to my thought. Christine Paisley Ford testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee over a week ago, and they called her testimony heroic. Was it really heroic? Who is a hero? Somebody who's able to control his emotion. Controlling your emotion requires not only self-control and the ability to hold in your personal weaknesses, but doing the right thing as well in the process. I had another video, and in that video people argued with me that perhaps a person would be so emotionally overwhelmed that they would not be able to confront their tormentor. That may be so, but it is clear from the Jewish law, which is the basis of all Christian law and Roman law, and therefore common British law as well as American law, The first obligation a person has if they have an argument with someone is to confront that person. And that would be the most heroic thing that she could have done. Not to besmirch the person publicly, like she did, telling it to 20, 30 million viewers at the same time. But instead of besmirching the person, which is an act of anger, an act of vengeance, she should have given him the opportunity to say, "I'm sorry. I'm not like that today." If indeed this was Brett Kavanaugh who attacked her, Brett Kavanaugh should have been given the opportunity to say, "I'm sorry." He might have forgotten about it. It was a silly thing. I know the girls don't think it's silly, but the boys think all of this is cute and silly when they're younger, when their hormones are working. That doesn't make it right, but that's the way they think. So she should have confronted him as to why you did this. Don't you know that this is hurtful, it's demeaning, it's scary? I thought you were going to kill me. This would have been the most heroic activity that she could have done. Instead, she chose an avenue, and she was directed to an avenue of public embarrassment, attacking the credibility of another human being. Forget about the fact that he's a judge. He's still another human being. Another human being who has gone on to his own career and been stellar at it. And to demean and to undermine the character of that person publicly is an act not of courage, but an act of vengeance, an act of weakness, devoid of any true corrective possibility within herself. What did you gain by saying it publicly? That you were attacked by him. And you were afraid. Are you still afraid? Yes, you are. Have you learned from this? No, you haven't. You've only learned that you want to take revenge. You're going to hit him where it hurts. That's going to be your strength. That's not a strength. Not a strength to go ahead and to demean someone who at 17 years old did a stupid thing, if he did it. I once threw a piece of ice at a bunch of girls when I was 12 years old. And one of the girls that I hit with the ice had a cold. And this really, really hurt her. And I was a 12-year-old. I thought it was kind of cute. I was throwing snowballs of snow or ice at a girl. One of the girls hired a teenager to run after me, caught me, and confronted me. And you know what? They were right, and I was wrong, and I was stupid. And I'm glad that I was confronted. Did you know that you hurt this person? Did you know that it's not cute to hurt a person? Yeah, I learned that. It took a while, but I learned that. It's not cute to hurt someone. She denied Brett Kavanaugh the opportunity of learning that this was not cute. This was something that he could have corrected. But she chose not to do that. So, my conclusion was that either it never happened, because if it did happen, she would have confronted him in order to be healthy, in order to be whole. But some people are so frail, they can't. You mean to tell me you're so frail, you can't confront the person, but you can blacken his name? You can go ahead on television and make everybody say that Brett Kavanaugh is a gang rapist, a serial rapist, a lowlife, a despicable person. based upon your say-so. Did you know that this hurts him as well and his family? Your reputation has not been tarnished by this, but his has. And he's going to have many sleepless nights because of you. So either it never happened because if it had happened, you would have sought out the best way to do something. The best way to do something is not to demean another person and to hurt another person. To attack that person worse than you were attacked, because you might have been attacked personally and you would have been a certain sense of intimidation, you would have been insecure, but certainly that was not the only reason why you're insecure, and you admitted to that. But even if it affected you to your insecurity, you're still a respected psychologist today. You give lectures, you write books, people look up to you. Nobody has taken you down from that. Nobody has attacked you for it. But you have attacked another human being and made him a person of poor credibility, of poor judgment, a hateful person, a person who's dangerous, a person who shouldn't be in the position that he's in right now. It doesn't make a difference if he's in on the appellate court or the Supreme Court. The reason why you did so has nothing to do with your inhibitions or your phobias. It's pure vindictiveness, hatred, and political innuendo. Consciously or subconsciously, you don't want Neil Gorsuch to sit on the Supreme Court, and you've done whatever you can to not allow him to sit on that Supreme Court because you have something against him. Because you have something against him, you're allowed to destroy another person's life. Is that fair? The answer is no, it's not fair. Well, again, if he destroyed some of your life, he could have made you whole by apologizing. He could have offered you some monetary compensation. That would have soothed you and made you whole. But what you just did to him, there's nothing in the world that you can do to compensate him for that. So Dr. Christine Paisley Ford, it either never happened or you sublimated it. But even if it happened, this was the most horrific way to deal with it. Not by publicizing it. Talk about things. Publicizing it and demeaning another person and taking away that person's reputation is the robbery of an entire life of good works. He has worked hard to be where he is, to have the respect that he's earned. He's worked hard not to be that person that you've accused him of being when he was 17 years old or when he was 19 years old. He's not that person today. You should have given him the opportunity to say, I'm sorry. You should have given him the opportunity to make you whole. You're not whole, still not whole, because all you've done is acted in a vengeful manner. You've done what Cain did to Abel. Cain had an argument against Abel. And his argument was a powerful argument. Abel is violating my property rights. His flocks are eating my produce. That's my livelihood. And Abel was very flippant about it. But instead of confrontation, instead of protecting himself, he attacked. And the attack was far worse than what Abel was doing, and therefore was unjustified. And the attack that you have attacked Judge Kavanaugh is far worse than what he did to you. Because Judge Kavanaugh has not, at this point, taken you down and said you're a bad therapist and you have Looney Tune ideas in your psychology. The only thing that makes a judge worthy of being a judge is his character and reputation. You've assassinated and killed a part of him permanently. That's too bad, because you're not whole, and I don't believe you, and half of America doesn't believe you. But the reason I don't believe you is because you didn't do what's right, and you didn't confront your tormentor. And since you didn't do that, I just don't believe that this is what happened. I don't believe it's him. I don't believe he was anywhere near you. I don't believe that you're correct in your assertions. You may have some events that happened to you, and you're now projecting it on him because you want to. But that's the extent of my belief. I'm sorry, Dr. Ford, Dr. Christine Ford. I don't know what field of psychology you practice in, but I do know that you gave yourself wrong advice as to how to deal with this.